Part 65, Plan for Thunderbolt's Improvement and Defense Lines Strengthen. As for the thunder-like thunderbolts, these are just a few experiments he made. When he came back, he had learned that what the craftsman made should be more powerful than what he made. After all, his original materials were taken from the local area, and there was no special effect at all. It was just that the momentum was frightening, the horse was suddenly frightened, and the inexplicable fear in people's hearts caused such a situation. At present, the craftsmanship is definitely different. Even Ming Yu is curious about the power of this thing. Originally, he was thinking of going there today. But now it seems that today's itinerary is going to be cancelled. General Wei must be going to see this thing that has made great achievements. And of course he can't leave Xie Yishou of the Red Robe Army behind. This is what they had agreed on when they were on their way back. It's been a long time today. If you want to see the results of the experiment, you have to inform the craftsmen to prepare, go to the guard camp outside the city, and let someone try the effect in person. Although General Wei was in a hurry, he knew that today was impossible, so the two agreed to go to the guard camp outside the city to gather early tomorrow morning. Early the next morning, everyone rushed to the training ground of the guard camp. Not surprisingly, Huang Lao also came. He is the person in charge of this project. When Ming Yu was kidnapped, the craftsman was not notified at all. The craftsman belongs to Ming Yu's private property. Even if Ming Yu's affairs are somewhat related to the craftsman, no one dared to go without Ming Yu speaking. Later, after Ming Yu was safe, he specially asked someone to talk, and the matter of the craftsmanship would be dealt with after he returned. Therefore, General Wei in the craftsmanship just sent people to watch on the periphery, and did not alert the people inside. Huang Lao and others didn't know anything about Ming Yu at the time. The figure of Ming Yu has not been seen for several days. Huang Lao and others are also a little strange. Although they know that Ming Yu is busy with personnel, they also know that Ming Yu values this research. He used to come almost every day, but now there is no figure. Not a single one was seen. When he encounters a bottleneck in his research and wants Ming Yu's opinion to refer to, when he comes to visit. It was only when I heard from the people in the palace that the prince had something to go out, and he didn't know when he would return, so he left angrily. Why didn't the prince trust them when he went out? However, who is the prince, and how can he tell unrelated people about his itinerary later? He is relieved to think so. The pedantic man didn't notice the gloomy clouds in the palace, and everyone's face was full of worry. Although the prince has left, their research cannot be stopped. After consulting the documents and contacting the proposal that Ming Yu had given them, they hurriedly rushed to make the finished product. Of course, the price was that an experimental workshop was razed to the ground. But fortunately no one was injured, which is why Ming Yu once told how dangerous this thing was. However, looking at the deep pit that was blown out on the ground and the ruined walls caused by the disaster, the power of this thing is indeed as Ming Yu said. And it has the ability to open up mountains and places. Now, as soon as the prince comes back, he will send someone to summon them, depending on their results. Everyone is naturally happy. The things they have made can be appreciated by others, and it is not worth their hard work. Everyone was here. Huang Lao saluted and handed the things over to Ming Yu for inspection. General Wei, who was beside him, wanted to see through his eyes. He stretched his neck and looked over, only to see a fist-sized thing as black as an iron ball. Ming Yu checked and tested it, and the sealing performance was good. After listening to Huang Lao explain the materials used, Ming Yu nodded. If it is good or bad, you will know if you try it. Someone was instructed to take the things down, and in the designated area, under the guidance and arrangement of the craftsman, it was ready. Ming Yu and others were sitting on the stand. and he was looking forward to it. This thing has been successfully developed. It can be used to dig a canal soon. Then his horse farm is just around the corner. Now there are few horses. They can still be stocked here. When there are more horses, the role of the horse farm will be different. With a boom, a huge sound rang out, and then the raging fire rose into the sky. Everyone seemed to feel that the ground trembled a few times, and their hearts were extremely shocked. General Wei unconsciously twisted his beard. Is this the thunderbolt? Ming Yu said. The momentum is indeed huge. Although Xie Yishou, Mo Zhang and others had seen this thing once, the one here is not the same as what Ming Yu had in the hands of the past. This thing is more powerful. If such a thunderbolt could be used in that battle, I am afraid that the casualties of the enemy will be greatly increased. Ming Yu stood up with a smile. Very good, with a little power. When the smoke cleared, everyone walked over, only to see the devastated gravel and mud pits on the ground, and the surrounding trees with thick legs were also beyond recognition. What came over was the scorching smoke of sulfurous fireworks and sporadic unquenched flames. Ming Yu nodded. It seems that this expectation is still acceptable. It is a bit more decent than what he fooled himself. General Wei now finally understands that this thing is a weapon on the battlefield. With it, where is the use of the cavalry that fears the barbarians? General Wei's eyes lit up. He hadn't been so excited for a long time. He rubbed his hands. My prince. However, Ming Yu didn't have time to pay attention to him for the time being, and was just talking to Master Huang, who was beside him, summarizing the pros and cons of this thing. It can be said that their research and development are relatively successful, but they cannot only be directed at one point. And they can also move towards more research and development directions in the future. Like the main formula remains unchanged, and then add black oil to burst and burn at high temperature. Or make it smaller, tie it to an arrow, ignite it and shoot it out for a long distance, and the damage is strong. Or you can bury it in the ground and wait for a certain period of time. It can also have unexpected effects without being aware of it. Ming Yu thought about it. He can only provide a direction to talk about these things. And the specifics can only be developed and realized by professional personnel. Huang Lao nodded again and again when he heard it. The prince really has 7 orifices and exquisite heart. And he can think of so many things from one fact, which is beyond the reach of others. However, from the words of the prince, he had a flash of inspiration. What does the prince mean? You can also set the time, and then ignite the fire without error within the specified time. This is still a bit difficult. The performance of this thing is very unstable. Maybe the vibration is a little bigger, and it will also trigger a disaster. Ming Yu naturally knows this. It is true that the safety performance still needs to be improved. However, I can try what the prince said. Huang Lao said happily. Sure enough, the prince is the prince, and a few words have provided them with a lot of new ideas. You can take your time. But the safety issue is really important. The craftsman is only responsible for inventing and improving these. And the real production cannot be in the craftsman workshop. Ming Yu said that after hearing that the experimental house of the craftsman workshop was razed to the ground last time. Ming Yu has been thinking about this problem. Maybe we can set up another workshop in a place outside the city. Old Huang has never cared about these things, he just needs to do his own thing well. The only pity is that Ganju, who is next to him, said that after he went home to save his relatives, he never came back, which made him a little unaccustomed to life. However, as long as he digs into the experimental workshop, he will focus on nothing else. He has been studying the matter at hand these days, but he has not thought much about it. Looking back now, it is a bit strange. This person was arranged by the prince for him. I told the prince, but because this kind of trivial matter has to bother the prince, it's a bit overwhelming. Just as he was struggling to say or not to talk about Ganju's matter, Ming Yu noticed his entanglement and asked a question. Now he doesn't say anything. Needless to say, he simply mentioned a word hesitantly. Ming Yu nodded. Thinking of Ganju's identity, he was speechless for a while. He chose innocent people at first, but he didn't expect such a big fish. Shishi country's King Laohan is really willing to leave his son in the enemy country for more than 10 years without asking, hiding so deeply. Who knows his identity is like this? If they hadn't talked about it along the way, he would never have known it. The matter of Ganju, this prince knows, and I will send someone to the craftsman in 2 days. Ming Yu said. Xie Yishou on the side had heard Ming Yu mention Ganju long ago. A prince of an enemy country had been lurking in Liangcheng for so many years. I don't know how many fine works of Shishi country in Liangcheng. My prince, in the craftsmanship, we still need to carefully screen out the trustworthy people. Since I was able to sneak in and make detailed work before, I don't know if there are any lurking. Xie Yishou became a little worried. The prince often went to craftsmanship, and something had to be prevented. Ming Yu obviously understands this. Craftsmanship is different from other places. This is a research center. If the things they develop by themselves are stolen by meticulous work, they will be used by the enemy, which is a bit difficult to put up with it. Ordinary things don't matter, just like clairvoyance, crossbows, and today's thunderbolts. These are military supplies and must be encrypted and managed to prevent meticulous work to steal them. Ming Yu didn't expect to come to this level before, but now that he has experienced such a situation, he has to put these things on the agenda. This prince understands. And I will let someone do a good check. Now that Ming Yu knew the importance of this matter, Xie Yishou didn't say more, and instead said, "The thunderbolt I saw today is the same as the one before the prince. What they do is different, I don't know why. It's still due to the problem of materials. Before the lack of materials, the things made from local materials are naturally inferior to this." Ming Yu explained with a smile. Xie Yishou nodded. This thing is really good. It will be very useful in both offense and defense. If the prince has more hands, our Red Robe army. Before he finished his words, General Wei saw that the situation was not good, had already taken a step forward. Took over the topic of Xie Yishou and said, "My prince, such a good thing can't be without our garrison." Ming Yu was full of black lines, very speechless. There can't be many more now. Yes. The layout of the craftsmanship is too small to take on large orders. This prince will rebuild a special military workshop, which will be directly separated from the craftsmanship. As long as it is military, it will be unified in this workshop. Only in this way will the production increase, otherwise everything will be in vain. Besides, the first batch of this prince has other uses. The canals that need to be renovated in the construction of the horse farm can be greatly accelerated by using this. It is now what he desperately needs. The words have been said very clearly, and General Wei knows that he can't ask for it now, and he can't be anxious about this matter. So, his mind turned around. And he laughed and said, "Come on, don't worry about this thing, but the shields and hooks and sickles of the prince guarding the camp can't be hidden and tucked. Most of our garrison are infantry. As long as we have these two treasures, we don't have to be afraid of the cavalry of the Yi people." Ming Yu frowned, but he didn't agree with this statement. The general should not underestimate the cavalry of the Yi people. Xie Yishou said at this time. General Wei snorted twice. Xie Yishou is a full man who doesn't know if a hungry man is hungry. Your Red Robe army have excellent weapons and armor, and horses are also 1 in 10,000, so naturally he would say so. Ming Yu also nodded in agreement. It seems that he and General Xie thought of going together. General Wei, although these weapons are effective against cavalry, they can't rely on these external things alone. They have been specially trained to guard the battalion, and they don't have a strong heart. Who can be confident when the iron cavalry approaches? Come down and remember the task at hand. You must be bold and careful. And you must be brave and not afraid of death to be able to face the cavalry and deal with it comfortably. General Wei smiled and said, naturally. That's why I asked the prince to respond to the old minister's unkind request. Ming Yu groaned in his heart and looked at General Wei suspiciously. General Wei didn't wait for him to ask. He came over and smiled and said, aren't your guard battalion training new recruits all the time? The old minister thought that our garrison would also choose some people to come and train in the guard battalion together? Anyway, it's all training. Training recruits is also training. Training garrisoning troops is also training, so you don't have to worry about two things. How about the prince? He could see that the guard battalion can transform from a bunch of old men who are nothing to an iron army. The prince's training is invaluable. He remembered that when the garrison first conducted a confrontation exercise with the guard battalion, this group of people could not be on the stage at all. And General Wei did not think that they could train to such an effect in a short period of time. It's a bit difficult to do. Such a small guard camp. Where can these giant Buddhas be accommodated? Where can a garrison be compared to a recruit? Seeing Ming Yu's hesitation, General Wei continued his efforts. My prince, we are all soldiers of Dayan Country, and we are all protecting Dayan Country's territory. The family doesn't speak two words. Anyway, these people are handed over to Commander Mo. What to do, just like those new soldiers. If there is anything disrespectful or disobey, or violating military orders, it is beating or scolding, and the old minister will never protect the calf. He made up his mind, and he didn't expect it. Everyone in the garrison can be as strong as the guard's army, but some good seedlings in the garrison are not bad in their own strength. They can receive special training from the guard battalion, and then they will be able to support the appearance of the garrison. Whether this group of people is a self-contained army or the squad below the single belt can make the garrison change the existing appearance. In fact, this idea is not a sudden idea, but a plan that has been pondered in his mind for a long time, and the garrison will not change. Their Wei family has been stationed at the border for generations, dedicated to their duties, abide by their duties, and have a deep loyalty to the emperor. However, since the Wei family, his sons and nephews all have shortcomings, and in the next generation, no one can take his place. He has been anxious all the time. The Wei family has fallen so far, and there is no successor, which he does not want to see. And this time is undoubtedly an opportunity. As long as there are one or two younger nephews who learn some skills in the guard camp and make some military achievements in the future, they will not lose the prestige of the Wei family. This can be regarded as a little selfishness of his, who doesn't want the younger generation in the family to continue the glory of the family? Ming Yu frowned, thinking about the feasibility of it. He didn't know whether it would have any impact on the guard camp if he agreed rashly. Why don't you ask Commander Mo what he thinks? Xie Yishou reminded him when he saw that Ming Yu was troubled. That's right, Mo Zhang is in charge of the guard camp now. It's best to ask the prince for his opinion. He breathed a sigh of relief and gave Xie Yishou a grateful glance. General Wei. What General Xie said is that, after all, the training and management of the guard battalion has been handed over to Commander Mo. It's best for General and Commander Mo to discuss this matter, Ming Yu said with a smile. What the prince means, as long as Commander Mo agrees, there will be no problems with the prince. Right? General Wei squinted his eyes, and he had already made up his mind. Ming Yu nodded with a smile, but he didn't have the slightest sense to trick his subordinates again. Only Mo Yang's ears were hot, and he didn't know who was talking about him. The experiment had been completed, and everyone had left. General Wei went straight to Mo Zhang. Before Xie Yishou left, he thought about the details of the work, and was a little worried, so he quietly mentioned to Ming Yu, "My prince, now there is still a need for an investigation in Liangcheng. It is necessary to pull out the enemy's fine nails one by one." Xie Yishou frowned in disapproval and said with a smile, "If all of them are captured in one go, the enemy may not be able to send new ones, and we will need to check them out at that time. It's better to keep old acquaintances and just keep an eye on them. Besides, these people may not be unable to help me use it." Xie Yishou thought for a second that he already understood what Ming Yu meant, and the corners of his lips twitched slightly. Yes. This made it easier. Since there is no way to stop it, you can also use these people to pass on some news that they want to be seen by others. Very good. Do you need the Red Robe Army to come out? Xie Yishou asked. Ming Yu's brows and eyes were full of playful smiles. Are the Red Robe Army good at such trivial things? However, there is really no need to bother the Red Robe Army. The Imperial Guards Army sent by the father is enough. You know, these are the specialties of the Imperial Guards Army. Now, the Imperial Guards sent by the Emperor to him, he has no shortage of manpower. These people are also good at investigating news and make the best use of them. Naturally, there is no need to bother others." Xie Yishou nodded. Ming Yu telling is true, and he only asked such words on impulse. He always thought of helping him if he could. But he did not expect that his wings had gradually become fuller. The Imperial Guards Army really lived up to expectations, and soon followed the vines and found out the nails buried in Liangcheng. Ming Yu did not panic. "I just scratched some painlessly, and the rest were only to be monitored carefully, but anything must be reported."